Hello, I'm Tristan Ford Frower of List 25 fame and the student director of Peter Pan and Wendy, which opened at PK Young High School in 2013 and closed after 1 month. Today, I'm a full-time photographer at Chasing Shadows Gainesville, and I'd like to answer some questions that you might have had about photography. Most of these questions came from you. A few of them came from other sources that won't be named, because no one answered my texts when I asked for more questions. I had a total of 36 to work with. I will be answering 11 of them. Let us begin. How do you balance making someone look good and still making them look like themselves? Fake laughter. I always tell my subjects to give me a little fake laughter, which in turn becomes real laughter. Ha ha, he, aha. I beg you, stop telling people to say cheese. I have everything against 9-year-olds, but you'll make their smiles look like that of a 9-year-old who's forced to make a face. I only need one photo. Why are you charging me the price of a full session? Well, for you, it's just one photo, but we're gonna have to take several photos in order to find the perfect one photo. And keep in mind that I still had to come into the studio, gather and set up all the right gear, and it's not over for me after it's over for you. I still have to do all the retouches and get things exactly right. Believe me, I sometimes feel guilty myself over charging people a hefty price over one photo, but ultimately, I have to overcome my imposter syndrome and take into account everything that goes into the process. What skills matter most in the photography industry? The ability to publicly fail. Photography means working with people, places, and things, all of which are very personal. So when you mess that up, and inevitably there will be days that you do, you're going to hear about it, and it's going to hurt. You're going to feel guilty, angry, and insecure. Once you're done with all that, you have to move on, find where you went wrong, and do better next time. Additionally, there are some cases where you can't do better. Sometimes you do all that you can, but a client's self-image was never going to allow the job to get done without seeing a flaw. So, the second, and just as valuable skill, is figuring out how to dust off your ego, their ego, and reveal your next education destination. Why would someone choose a professional photographer versus their nephew who has a good camera? Well, for one, if all your nephew is bringing to the table is a nice camera, he's probably shooting on auto mode, and I'm shooting on manual mode. His photos are going to be over or underexposed, while my photos will be right in the ballpark, or some other sports metaphor. Your nephew isn't going to know the right time of day to shoot an outdoor session, nor does he have access to a fully equipped photography studio if you'd rather do an indoor session. He won't know how to pose you, or how to get the most genuine smile from you, unless he watched the beginning of this video. He'll be working with a basic kit lens, which will produce fuzzy photos that look slightly distorted, while I'll be using the lens that I've heavily invested in to ensure you look sharp, in focus, and just like you. And, most importantly, both your nephew and I are going to run into trouble on the shoot. Something is going to happen with the light, the equipment, the weather, or maybe all three. Your nephew is going to either panic, quit, or lose time trying to figure out a solution. Meanwhile, I've been doing this for nearly 10 years, and have a solution to almost every regular occurrence of Murphy's Law. I could definitely be mistaken on this, but I think it was Bruce Lee who said, "Amateurs react, professionals anticipate." But your nephew does already have a nice camera, so I hope he keeps at it, and before you know it, he'll be your go-to photographer for reasons outside of nepotism. Do expensive cameras really make better photographers? This is a classic question, and the answer is no, but kinda. A good camera gives you a lot more room for error that even the most experienced photographer is going to run into. As an example, before I upgraded, I would take headshots that were excellent, great exposure, and the perfect smile, only to take them into the software and realize that they were just the slightest bit out of focus. Newer cameras have amazing autofocus. Canon's in general is absolutely unmatched. A better camera also allows you to take more photos in a shorter amount of time, which increases your chances of a usable shot. Obviously, the photos on a professional camera have more megapixels, allowing you to crop and edit a photo without losing any detail. So, naturally, yes, your work is going to improve if you have a professional-grade camera. But does it really matter if you don't know how to use it? I can still take a great photo even with an older camera that lacks bells and whistles, whereas a beginner photographer might not be able to do what I can, even if they were granted the nicest camera on the market. What does it mean to be a photographer when everyone has a camera and access to artificial intelligence? Same fight, different opponent. Photographers were asked what they'd do when nice cameras became more affordable. Then again, when cell phones improved their cameras. And now we're being asked about our solution to AI. Technology is going to improve, and I'm going to do my best to improve with it. I'm not fighting against AI. It's here to stay, and it even has its place in my industry, like when it comes to sorting photos or making masking easier in Lightroom. There are those who are going to see it as an alternative to spending money on a photographer. They're the ones who hired their nephew earlier. But photography is a human experience, and there will always be those who want to see a genuine photo of themselves and not an illustration done by a computer. You're going to remember having your picture taken. You aren't going to remember typing a prompt into an AI generator. Photos are memories and representation. AI is busy work. If cameras recorded feelings instead of light, would we still use them? They do, and we do, so yes. Is it cheating to edit photos? I hope not. You can get a great photo straight out of camera, but editing doesn't take away from that. Editing is a skill on its own. Photographing the subject the right way is part 1 of the process. Part 2 is polishing the little things you didn't have control over in the moment. You don't stop painting a wall after a single coat, nor should you release a photo right after taking it. It's why I'd never deliver the raw photos, despite plenty of clients asking for them. What shot looks easy to capture, but is actually a bit difficult to get right? Canadian passport photos are some of the most complicated photos in the industry. The lighting has to be absolutely perfect. The print must be cropped exactly to 70mm by 50mm. If the photo is less than a millimeter off, it will be rejected by O Canada and sent back. On top of this, the photographer is required to provide an official stamp on one of the photos to confirm that the picture was taken by a true studio or by a commercial photographer. What is your favorite subject to photograph? If I could just do headshots and real estate, I would be so happy. I specialize in both. A good headshot makes people feel great about themselves, and real estate photography is very therapeutic for me, so it makes me feel great. Why does aging feel more real in photos than in real life? You're on a constant journey, which is very slow. Photos travel through time and showcase destinations of the past. It's easier to see change when you've already lived it. If you like this video, liking and subscribing will do nothing. Please book a session with me instead. Now, here's my favorite scene from Hook.